Hello, welcome to this episode of Rich Insights. I'm Don Rich, Head of Investments for Esoterica Capital Management. Today's topic is assessing the damage. Now, what I'm talking about in particular here is assessing the damage of the coronavirus on GDP and earnings. I don't think enough attention has been paid to the effect on earnings, the severe reduction we're likely to see on earnings. Now, one reason for that is an article that I was reading on the Bloomberg Newswires. All right, we all know the effect that the coronavirus is having on our little corner of the world, right? Our microcosm. But to see a chart like this, 47,000 retail stores closed in a week in the U.S. 47,000. It was breathtaking. To me, that was just breathtaking. Yeah, maybe I should have expected it. But to me, that was an oh my gosh moment for me. Now, about a week ago, we started to get the first data points coming out of China that would give us some indication of how severe the slowdown was. And those numbers were terrible, right? There's not really a more polite way to talk about them. They came in far below expectations, and they were worst. They were the worst data points in the history of those data series, right? A lot of those data series go back 20 or 30 years. All right, so we have the energy recession in 2015. We had the crisis in Europe in 2011, obviously 2008, 2001 recession, right? So we've had a number of periods of slowdowns, and the effect that we were seeing from those Chinese data just dwarfed everything that we had seen before. Now, last night we got the first indication of the data points from Europe, right? The effect of the coronavirus on the private market. All right, so the private market, again, it's largely separated into two components. We have the manufacturing piece and then everything else. Non-manufacturing, or it's generally, we call it the services sector. All right, so we got manufacturing and services. And the numbers that were coming out of the Eurozone were telling the same story as China. Coming in worse than people are anticipating, and also by far the worst in the history of those data series. So as we start to guess, and again, that's all these are, just pure guesses, just how severe the slowdowns are going to be. Again, keeping in mind that the magnitude and the intensity of the slowdown. I would suggest we use one simple rule of thumb. Right? It's probably about as good as any. And that is if somewhere between 50 and 70% of the economy is shut down, that's probably the best guess as to the effect on GDP. All right. So whatever the pre-crisis, pre-coronavirus GDP estimates were, at least cut them in half, and then scale them up from that. And in other words, scale them down rather. The severity of the slowdown is probably even stronger than that. But that's true not only on GDP, it's true, most likely true on earnings as well. When you see 47,000 retail outlets in the U.S. close, well, we're talking about just a massive number of people being laid off. Right? And then in a very short period of time, all of those unemployed people, of course, are going to be without health insurance. That's another effect coming. So the importance of passing this stimulus package, this $2+ trillion stimulus package in the U.S., the importance of this is is huge. Now the market's getting excited. The markets are up today because they anticipate that this thing's going to pass. Now at the same time, of course, we're hearing rumors, speculation, that the White House has pulled its support of the stimulus package. Wow. Now, of course, this isn't our first rodeo. We know that's most likely the White House, a negotiating tactic on the part of the White House. But we really, really need the stimulus package to pass. Right? The demand destruction that has occurred due to the coronavirus is really unheard of. Right? If we had data back to the Great Depression, maybe we would have a comparable. But nothing in modern history compares to the intensity and the magnitude of the slowdown that we're facing today. Now, the other topic I want to talk about today is an exit package, all right? An exit strategy. That's something you don't hear much about. How are we going to go back to everyday life? Now, we're fortunate at Esoterica. We actually have people in China. We have feet on the ground. So on a daily or at least a high frequency basis, we can talk to them and get their insights, their experiences, just what everyday life looks like. And it's encouraging, terribly encouraging that things are starting to return to normal. But that also raises the question, is that the appropriate strategy? And when's it likely to occur if it does occur in the U.S., right? Is it 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks from now, 2 or 3 months from now? When are we likely to get the all clear? Now, the Nobel laureate Paul Romney is floating a rather interesting concept, at least, discussion concept. He's suggesting that rather than focus all our funds on defensive measures, reactive measures, maybe we should be proactive as well. All right, he's suggesting that we go through some sort of a test before we're allowed to go to work. All right, before you're allowed in your place of business, whether it's a plant, an office building, whatever it is, before you're allowed in, you go through a test. And those that test negative for the virus can go on, and those that test positive then are quarantined for a period of 2 weeks. Now, maybe we do these tests daily, once a week, I don't know. Everything would have to be worked out. And whether these tests would be urine samples, blood samples, nasal swabs, again, who knows? But that's sort of the exit strategy that he's suggesting, right? Maybe part of the workforce can go back to work earlier, and we better identify those at risk in a better manner, in a more timely manner. Now, of course, to my knowledge, the testing technology is not available. And even if it was, just think about the mechanics and the logistics of trying to test your entire workforce and get feedback from those results in a very timely manner. But at least it's someone thinking about a possible exit strategy here. All right, so there's a number of issues on the table that need to be concerned. But I don't think there's any question that the severity of this slowdown is going to be enormous. And we're likely still underestimating that level of severity. At least in my opinion. That's what I see so far. All right, that's our message for today. I'm Don Rich. You just experienced a rich insight. I hope you enjoyed it. May your beer be colder than the company you keep. We'll talk again soon. Thank you.